Hey guys, it's your girl Victoria back to you with another review for Couples Retreat Season 3, Episode 6, called New Edition, Old Story. So we're literally picking up where we left off last week. We had Breezy. She was able to do the little circus gymnast exercise flawlessly. She does everything flawless. Then we have Chris. So she was up there about to do it, saying she didn't want to do it. But I guess Breezy was able to give her the right encouragement, the best encouragement, if you ask AJ and Tony. And she done did the thing. She did it well. Everybody else goes when it's Jalen's turn to go. You know, they're all wearing like spandex and all that stuff. So looks like Fallon has a nickname for Jalen's third leg, as she calls it. And she calls the third leg Tony. So Tony, he wasn't confused, but he was just like, I feel like I gotta change my name now. I feel like you have to change your name too, Tony. Interesting. I mean, we all saw it. I'm surprised they didn't blur it out because you know how TV be censoring the randomest things, but they didn't blur it out. We did see stuff. So I mean, hey, if Fallon loves it, you know, good for her. That's great. He does it. Everybody does good for the most part. Fallon is like, I understand she's afraid of heights. I get it. But when she when she has her little episodes and like doesn't want to do things like in this exercise, for instance, it just gave off very much baby vibes. Like, I don't want to do it. I know I be doing it sometimes, but I do that as a joke and to be dramatic. But I really feel like Fallon does it like that's really her personality. And to me, I'm just like, okay, we understand. You don't want to do it. No one else did either. But like this little baby voice and stuff that she does for me is just like it's not doing it for me. So she does it, and you know, even Tiana does it. And when it was Fat Boy's turn, he first tried to climb up. But then he's like, nope, I'm not doing it. So then AJ encourages him to at least climb up the whole ladder. And of course, because he made it up the whole ladder, now they want him to get down by doing the little exercise. So, you know, he was screaming that he's not doing it, but eventually he did do it. And, you know, he attempted. So he didn't get to swing his legs up and hang and all that stuff. He just kind of swung right to the net and fell. And it's okay, Fat Boy, because I'm pretty sure I would have done the same thing. To be honest with you, the way the ladder was, I don't feel like it's going to be sturdy enough for me personally. But, you know, I might make it up a couple of steps, but I don't know if I'll make up the top steps. So listen, I went a few weeks ago on vacation. I went on a bridge. And it was a chain link, like it's completely surrounded from top to bottom. Okay? But it's just the fact that I was so high and it's like, I just felt kind of unsturdy. So I don't think I could do this exercise. But kudos to those who did. So after that, we get to the question of the week. The question of this week is, what do you think was the last thing I did to make you feel supported? Now, usually I don't care what these people say and I don't write it down. But when Ronnie said to Shamari, having our kids, I'm looking at him like, did she just have a baby or something? Because ain't y'all kids a certain age? Like, aren't they maybe around maybe 10 years old, if not older? If not, if they're younger, maybe a couple years young. Like, don't you guys have kids like years ago? So the last thing she did to make you feel supported was have your kids, which was years ago. So all these years after having kids, she didn't make you feel supported. I think she even gave him a look like saying, like, really, that's what you have to say. That's your response. So that's all I took from it. You know, they may have been together for the longest out of all the couples there and feel like they're the veterans, but they still clearly have a lot of work to do. So we get to all the couples go to hang out before their little Studio 54 dinner, with the exception of Apollo and Shireen because they have a 2-on-1 with AJ, but we'll get to that in a second. And Fallon asks everyone, you know, do they feel like they need a plan B, because she definitely needs one after last night. Thank you for just, you know, letting us know you had sex last night, Fallon. I mean, you didn't have to ask the question, you know, but I guess that's her little way to try to break the ice, so to speak. But okay, good for you, Fallon. You finally got your dick that you've been wanting. You know, I ain't mad at it. You know, good for you. But I'm just kind of like, really, Fallon, you could have just been like, I mean, these really ain't your friends like that to be like, oh yeah, do we all need a plan B? Because I feel like they all looked at you kind of like, no. So okay, I'll give it to Fallon. Okay, let me not talk mean about her, you know. sometimes I feel like she's genuine, but I feel like some people, they don't care for her from what they seen on Real Housewives of Atlanta. I never watched it, don't care for it, but I mean, she just Valley Girl vibes. So then her next question was, I think Kendra said something too, but okay. Her next question was, does anyone uh, want kids or want more kids? So Breezy and Chris raised their hands, and I was like, oh, that's cute. And then with Kendra, she's still contemplating if she wants kids, but if she does, it's gonna be like 4 or 5 years down the line. And I'm just like, what? As long as you've been with Jock, okay? I mean, you can have kids whenever, but for me, I'm just kind of like, if you thinking that far, by the time you get to that age, you probably don't want to have kids no more. So I don't know why she in her head maybe for not financials, because I feel like they have financials, but maybe career wise. But you already been in the game for quite a few years, if I'm not mistaken. You already made a name for yourself. So I mean, okay, whatever. Kendra be saying stuff. Sometimes I have to take with a grain of salt, because I'm like, yeah, you saying it, but I don't really believe it. Okay, whatever. So after that, we have Ronnie and Shamari. They come to meet with them, and Shamari's in her feelings because Ronnie has to leave because he has a prior engagement with Belle Biv DeVoe. Okay, cool. She's upset mainly because it's like he did the same thing last season, which I do remember. So he's doing that again. And so she's upset. But, I understand that. And I would be in my feelings too, Shamari. But from the previews next week, it looks like he's still going to be in your feelings. We're going to have to let bygones be bygones, especially with someone of his caliber, Shamari, and who be probably booked and gigged like for the whole, like 365 days out. I understand, but at the same time, you've been with a homeboy for over 2 decades, so this should not be new to you of him always having something to do. You will be okay. Y'all will still be together. So then we move on to the 2-on-1 with Apollo and Shireen and AJ. And after talking about their issues, I mean, it's like I said, same situation, different day, with pretty much Apollo being controlling and him expressing that he has to desensitize himself from being in jail. I don't remember how many years, but being in jail for quite a few years. So, he still has to unlearn some things that he did learn in prison, to the point where I guess he has his back to Shireen one day, sleep in bed. So AJ's advice to them is to keep talking, being vulnerable and open. And which is good. I'm not saying that's bad advice, but clearly it seems like if they do that, they may realize it's just best if we're not together. Which kind of sucks because y'all just got married. Literally the Friday before y'all started this show. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with that. We get to the Studio 54 dinner. So everybody is dressed nicely. And I guess before they get started with their dinner, which was only like 2 seconds, Breezy was asking Fatboy and Tiana if they're going to go to the casino later on that night. And, Tiana and Fatboy was like, oh yeah, of course, because Fatboy been in the casino every night since they've been there. And that's why he about to lose all the money again. So after that, when they get to the course, before we get to that, I forgot this one though. I just realized, I just read, Jock was sleeping. Now listen, when we at shindigs like this, I don't, if I'm into it, I'm not gonna be sleeping. I'm just gonna be on my phone, honestly. But he was just sleeping like, and Jock, I feel you, because I feel like I do that at work. Now, I don't feel like I do that at work. I do that at work. Like, man, sometimes you just be tired. And, I'm well known for being very, he be tilting his head and stuff. No, I literally, behind me, you think I'm just staring at my screen, maybe reading a note. No, I'm asleep. Okay, if I'm not moving the mouse or writing something down my notebook, I'm asleep. So I understand, but at the same time, I don't, because it's like we're at a shindig type of thing. So, like Breezy said, maybe he's just getting old, because, older folks tend to do that sometimes, but younger folks do it too. So, anywho, to this thing that was only like 2 seconds, we have AJ and Tony. They sit down just to let everybody know that, they was watching to see who was the most supportive and whatnot at the last exercise at the circus. And the one who they felt like was the most was Chris and Breezy. And because they feel like they were the most, they won a prize of exclusive date for ziplining, even though AJ gonna be a third wheel. So everybody claps for them, I guess. Do they even clap? I don't even know. I don't care. It don't matter. But we got Jock Haden in the confessional talking a little bit of crap and stuff. And okay, I mean, Jock is ziplining. It's nothing extravagant. I mean, it's an experience, but to me, I'm just like, I'm not gonna be mad if somebody else wants ziplining. Okay, I mean, if we're talking about a 1 day boat cruise, that's more up my alley. But ziplining is kind of like, I mean, I don't feel like I'll be missing much. So good for them. So then we get to Shireen and Apollo. They're sitting on the couch in the room after the 2-second dinner to talk about the relationship. And Apollo does open up a little bit about his experience and, how he can better himself to better their marriage. And Shireen is glad that he's starting to open up his eyes to try to be better for their marriage. But at the same time, she's been with him, riding with him for 9 years, I believe she said. So being pretty much doing the bid with him in prison and, being with him a few years outside of prison is like, it's taking him this long to realize he has some things to work on. And because she waited so long, her patience is wearing thin. So she don't know how long she could wait for him. And she does express that to him. So he's like, oh, okay. So you're just going to be like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm out. And she's like, I mean, the way it sounds, yeah, pretty much. So you might not make it past commitment ceremony. That's what it seems like, Shireen. And if that's the case, I mean, you got to do what's best for you at the end of the day. But like I said, it's just kind of like, y'all just got married though. Because I think this couples retreat is like 1 week. So it's like, y'all just got married last week and y'all already about to get divorced. So once again, what's the purpose? See, this is why y'all need to do y'all due diligence and your work on your marriage, maybe, or relationship before getting married. I don't know. I mean, I know some people already got married and stuff, but this is why it's like sometimes it's good to go to counseling, get to know each other, not just on like a physical level, but like maybe emotional, mental level, all that stuff. So, I mean, good luck to them. Good luck to Shireen, most importantly. But I don't know. We'll see how this plays out. We then get to Fat Boy doing a video diary to Tiana, but we're seeing it, so really to us, but addressing Tiana in the video, apologizing because he lost a lot of money at the casino last night. Are we surprised? I mean, we already seen that one video of them on social media that they showed in the beginning of the season of him spending, I think, $100,000. So ain't nothing new. So after that, we get to Ronnie doing a video diary of him heading out to his prior engagements. And then because he done left, Shamari has a one-on-one with AJ. So AJ wants to get to the nitty-gritty of what's going on with Shamari because last night was the first time she saw Shamari being herself, because I guess her attire has been kind of reserved and conservative because of the fact that she keeps mentioning that she gained 30 pounds. So obviously she's not comfortable in her skin and the fact that she gained 30 pounds. So she just wants to see where Shamari is at mentally. And when she was sitting with AJ, she just looked so broken. Shamari did look so broken, and I felt really bad for her. And when AJ was asking her, like, what's going on, what's the underlying issue, Shamari wanted to make it the excuse that, she doesn't have time or help in order to, work out to lose the weight, because back then she used to be on her grind, making sure she always was staying fit. But now, because Ronnie not really helping out, she got kids, so it's harder for her to really get her groove on and slim back down like she wants to. So then that's when AJ told us in confessional she wasn't believing nothing she was saying. She said pretty much it was excuses. So she does bring that up to Shamari and, use the question like, okay, if you found out you had a sickness and they said you needed to come to this place once a week in order to get treatment for your sickness, what you gonna do? She said, I will make the time to get my treatment done. She's like, okay, so what's your excuse for not getting what you want done in order to lose weight? So she's like, yeah, so I know I should make the time. I know it's part on me, so I know I should be able to make some time to get that done. But you can't, because honestly, let's keep it real. And it's funny that this conversation came about because I was just having this conversation with my husband on our way back today from walking at the park. A lot of people make excuses why they can't work out. I do it too. I don't make excuses. I just say I don't want to go. But we ain't talking about me. A lot of people make excuses of why they can't do this, why they can't do that, because they don't have the time. No, it's because you're just not making the time. Okay, I understand after work, a long day of work or a long day of school or whatever the case may be, you're tired, you're drained, you're mentally just over it and just want to relax, be on TikTok or watch TV or whatever you do to woo song, calm down. I get that. I completely understand because I do that all the time. All the time. But at the same time, if you really want something, you have to put work towards it. You're gonna make the time. Okay. Just like a lot of people say, you're not busy every second of every day. So you definitely have time where you can, okay, let me take 15 minutes here, 30 minutes here, a whole hour block so I could get what I need to get done, whether it's before, as soon as I wake up, before I go to bed, sometime during the day, before work, after work, whatever the case may be. If you really want to do something, you will make the time to do something. So all these excuses ain't going to be working for AJ. It ain't going to work for me either because I got to be telling myself that too. Because today I really did not want to walk, but I did it. And I felt good that I did it when I was finished with it, not during, but after. But like I said, we're not talking about me. Anyway, back to this show. Shamari gets emotional and feels pretty much, she didn't say this word for word. I'm about to paraphrase that she feels like she lost herself. And that may be the case. And I understand that, being a wife and being a mom can, make someone lose himself. But at the same time, how long are we going to keep saying, you feel like we lost ourselves and not do anything to try to get ourselves back? Because she's been saying this, I feel like, since last season. So what have you learned? So did you not learn nothing last season? Because this season you still saying the same thing. So we're going to have to work on that, just like AJ says. So hopefully she does. I do like Shamari, but I do feel like, she loves to give, a lot of people love to give advice, but they don't like to take their own advice. So hopefully everything goes well for her. And then we get to Chris, Breezy, and AJ. They're in a car so they could go ziplining together. And Breezy lets AJ know that, everybody thinks they're perfect, but, they already been over the hurdle, so to speak. Everything that all the other couples are going through, they already been through that. I mean, okay, I'm not saying they haven't been through hurdles, even though last week I was saying I didn't think there was a real couple to begin with. But okay, y'all a real couple, so you say, and you guys been through hurdles. I'm not saying you haven't been through hurdles. Every couple's been through hurdles, but you act like y'all done. Like there ain't no more hurdles that's gonna come through. Incorrect, because there's always gonna be something coming through. But as time goes on, you guys just get better at going over those hurdles because y'all ain't new to this, y'all true to this. So it just made it seem like, okay, we already been through that, we're good, ain't nothing else gonna come about. But it's just like, no, something always gonna come about. Life always gonna have stuff to throw at you. It ain't ever gonna be easy breezy lemon squeezy. Okay, so whatever they say, when they be talking, I just really don't be listening because I'm like, oh, okay, everything's always, all peachy with you and Chris, and y'all talk about anxiety, or when she was getting mad at AJ, like, oh, you didn't discuss her anxiety. Okay, but after you say that, y'all never mention it again. So what are we talking about? Anyway, they get to the zip lining thing. Even AJ was a little nervous about doing the zip lining, and I'm like, I would have thought AJ did zip lining by this point, but I guess she was still in her feelings. Oh, okay, I'm not gonna knock her down for that. But I think Chris or Breezy, one of them two, they kind of not made fun of her, but pretty much said, oh, you wanna always encourage us, but looks like you need to take your own advice. Chris, I know you ain't talking. Okay, I know you ain't talking. Anywho, once again, Breezy does everything flawlessly. She's just perfect. Okay, she's perfect. And they do the zip lining. It seemed like it went well. There's nothing else to take from that scene. And then the last scene we get is because AJ is zip lining with Breezy and Chris, all three of them are not at this exercise with all the other couples with the exclusion of Ronnie. So we have, since Shamari's husband's not there, that she's still upset about, she is stepping in for AJ to be with Tony as the host for the next exercise, where pretty much everyone is going to reenact an argument that they had, but as their significant other. So Tiana and Fat Boy go first. Okay, I guess it was a little kiki hee hee ha ha. And then next we have Apollo and Shireen. And it doesn't get heated, so to speak, but it seems like it doesn't really go as fluent as Tiana and Fat Boy. Sorry, I felt like I was gonna burp. As Tiana and Fat Boy, because I guess maybe Apollo wasn't really hearing anything that Shireen was saying when they was arguing. He was more so in his head about what he's saying, or like most people do, or not most people, but like some people do, where they listen to defend instead of listen to understand. So he wasn't really having that active listening of what she was saying. So then in turn, I guess Tony was asking like, okay, where do we go from here? From their argument, what were they arguing about? I think that moment, that one night when they had to exercise the hypnotism. So, okay. Anywho, pretty much, Shireen saying if things don't change between her and Apollo, she's probably gonna leave. And then I guess when Tony asks Apollo how he felt about her response, he's like, "Oh, she's not going nowhere." And that's when the episode ended. And he said he could control whether she stays or leave, and she's like, "Oh no, that's gonna be my decision." So that's where it ends. And I'm kind of like, Apollo, I mean, you may think, but if she didn't want to be with you, she don't gotta be with you. If she don't want to be with you, she can leave. Why would you in your head think, "Oh, she's not going nowhere"? This is what people be talking about with that controlling stuff. I don't know if this is how he was with Phaedra on Love. I was gonna say Love and Hip Hop, Real Housewives, but his response is very problematic to me personally, and I don't like that. So I don't know how to end off this review, but pray for Shireen and her safety, because I didn't like the way he was like, "Oh, she ain't going nowhere," with like a definitive tone of voice. I didn't like that. So that's it. I'm nervous. But if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I'll still take that thumbs up. If you laughed at least once, please subscribe. If you didn't laugh, come back next week. Hopefully I can make you laugh. Be easy breezy lemon squeezy. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Put it down in the comments, especially about Apollo and his weird behavior, controlling behavior that he thinks might be sexy, because TV shows and movies like to portray it like it's sexy, but it's really not. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.